So you have it all left. Little Journey, little Journey, little Journey. Did you guess what we're going to be talking about today? Hi again, my name is Vanita and I am a Cambly tutor. And today I would like to talk a little bit about who you will be tutoring, because I think many of you have this question, who will be on the other side of the screen? So yes, just a reminder that Cambly has two groups. You have the Cambly group, which you could literally be any age, and then you have Cambly Kids, which is just your age, normally ranging between the age of 4 and 12. So in the Cambly group, it could be literally anyone of any age. So we're going to look a little bit at both of these groups, and I really am going to talk out of my personal experience. So I've been with Cambly for almost 5 years. I've had 9,208 chats and I've met 1,311 students. Yes. So I'm just going to share some of my experience with you that I hope will help you. So as mentioned, you can literally meet anyone from any age. It can be a young child, it could be a teenager, it could be an adult, it could even be a very old elderly person. You need to be ready for all those ages. So they could be from any country that Cambly are literally catering for, and there are normally the Middle Eastern countries and European countries. So just to give an example, some of these countries could be like Saudi Arabia, Taiwan, Russia, India, China, Japan, Turkey, Brazil, Mexico, Berlin, France. Yeah, that's kind of like the range. So it's very exciting knowing that you will be meeting people from these countries, because you also learn from their culture, and yeah, you get to really get a world perspective of things. I've really discovered as a tutor that I was so caught up in my own little world and my own little country that you almost lost touch of the fact that there is a bigger world out there, and a lot of people with a lot of different ways and different ways of thinking. So really, for me personally, it has been an enriching experience. Well, you have to be prepared for anything. You may get someone whose English is really basic, and then you get someone whose English could be at intermediate or even advanced. So you have to be ready for anything. But if you do get someone whose English is very basic or on a very low level and they're just starting to learn English, you have to be ready with some stuff. You need to have some pictures, you need to have some flashcards, you need to be ready for that situation, and also use the translation tool on the side of the Cambly platform. There's a wonderful tool where you can actually translate what you said into their specific language. So you could translate it from English to Chinese, or English to Russian, or to Turkish, whatever, and then they can actually see, okay, this is what she said and this is the translation, and from that they actually also learn. So you're never in a situation where you're like, oh, she's not understanding me, because you can always just use the translation tool, which is so cool, and a lot of the other online training platforms don't have that. So you're never in a situation where you feel stuck or frustrated because you can't communicate well with the student. If you don't want to work with beginners, then it's totally okay. You just go to your profile and you set your preference there as you want to talk to people that are intermediate or advanced. And then those people will see that on your profile, because most students go and look at the tutor's profile and they'll see, okay, this is not someone that wants to work with beginners, so I'm obviously not going to talk to this guy because I respect. But you may just get one or two that slips through, and you have to, answer the call, deal with the conversation, and yes, and then obviously later on you could send them a kind message and say, it was great to meet you, good luck with your English journey, because yes, you can send them messages as well. You have a message as function on Cambly, which is so cool too. I have found that most of the students that call in just want to have basic conversation. They don't actually expect you to prepare lessons or to have something majorly prepared for them. Sometimes they ask you to suggest a topic to talk about, and like, you have to be ready for that as well. So there's a lot of websites and you can just keep them all open in tabs on your computer. I have a few, so I keep it open. If they say, okay, let's talk about a topic, then I'll just go to my topic list, I'll click on one of those, and I'll actually look at the questions below. And you can say, well, what do you like? After meeting this person, you will realize that they're really into things like, say, food, or they like to talk about cars, or they like to travel, then you can take those things that you get from your conversation with them and use that as a topic. Yes, students have profiles too, but some of them don't actually complete it fully. So most of them actually, if you go have a look, there'll only be limited information. They'll have a name maybe, age and where they're from. Some will be kind enough to actually put there what their expectation is from the class. Many of them actually would also send you a message before the time after they booked you, said, listen, I would really like to discuss this topic, or I am preparing for a job interview, or I'm planning to travel to Europe and I want to be prepared when I get to the airport. So they'll kind of prepare you, but most students don't do this. So you have to kind of be ready for anything. So what if the student makes a mistake? Do I have to correct them right there on the spot? Well, it depends on your teaching style and also depends on the student's preference. They actually have a section in their profile where they can make mention of that and say they want to be corrected while speaking or after speaking. So you can have a look at that before the time. And if it's not clear, or if it's not stated, you could ask the student, would you like for me to help you while you speak, or should I wait and then correct you afterwards? Now, what I personally like to do is I like to hear them out and to listen at least to the end of a sentence. And as I hear the mistake, I will type the correction and send it through. And then at the end of that paragraph that she spoke, and I said, remember when you said that blah, 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 blah? And I'll say, well, it's actually not correct. We say it this way. And then I'll refer to my typing, because in that way I also remember what it is that I am supposed to actually refer back to. Because you can lose track of the conversation because they may talk a lot and then you miss the mistakes because there's quite a lot that you may hear. And obviously you don't have to try and pinpoint every mistake, maybe the major ones that stand out. And just type that in the message box, send it through, and at the end just talk about it. So here's a few tips for when you meet a new student. Number 1, be yourself, be relaxed, and be confident. They're not going to want to speak to someone that looks nervous and, because obviously I'm not going to go to a driving school if the guy who drives the car looks very nervous about driving. You have to appear confident, you know what you're doing. So come across as confident, come across as friendly and open, okay? Smile does wonders. So don't sit there with a frown on your face looking angry and strict, because that would make them even more nervous and they'll make even more mistakes, which gives you more work. So yeah, be friendly, be self-confident, be yourself, and come across with a good nature. Tip number 2, get to know the person. And this is just natural, okay? If you meet a new person, you ask them natural questions like, what's your name? Where are you from? Are you married? Do you have children? Where do you work? And out of that information that they give you, you will already get so much to work with, and you can pick out a topic to actually discuss. Because once I spoke to a guy who was he was in robotics, so he was involved in the making of robots, which I found very interesting. So immediately I hold on to that topic in my head. So at the end, when he went through his whole intro and I found out more about him, I said, well, let's go back to that topic of robots and your work, because I really like that. Would you like to talk about it? And then he would like, yes, of course, because it's his passion, it's his work. And I'll ask some questions like, wow, like how does artificial intelligence work? Or can a robot really do this? Or is it complicated? Like questions that you would ask anyone in that field, because it interests you as well. And from that you actually learn a lot. So you can draw so much out of just that introduction section with your student. Tip number 3, try to give the student a lot of space to communicate back with you, okay? Don't let them not feel frustrated because they don't have enough time and space to communicate back with you. Because as a tutor, I tend to talk too much and I tend to talk too fast. And that's another tip. You should talk slower and not like this, because it could be irritating. Just at a slower, normal pace to give them time to really receive what you are saying, and give them enough time to answer back. And if you are correcting them, some of them actually would be keen to repeat the correction and say, you should say, I were at the shop, not I was at the shop. Would you like to repeat that? I were at the shop. Good job. And you can actually have them repeat if they're keen to do that. But you'll pick up on their personality if they are a type of person who would like to do that or not. Some would actually, as you correct them, they would automatically repeat it. So yes, give them enough space to also share a lot and to also practice the mistakes, the corrected parts of the mistakes with you. Tip number 4, respect your students and their preferences and their cultures. We are all different, and you're going to be speaking to people from all over the world. So you have to remember that there will be a lot of differences, different beliefs, different ways of eating stuff, different ways of living, and you have to respect those differences and not attack it or argue about it. So make space for those differences. For example, if you're speaking to a Muslim student, keep in consideration that they may be going through Ramadan, they haven't eaten all day, so don't talk about food in the classroom, because that just won't work and it won't be nice for them. So keep all those different things in consideration, respect the culture, respect the traditions and the differences. Tip number 5. So you may get a student that acts in an inappropriate way, or actually says something vile or inappropriate. So it doesn't happen a lot, I can guarantee you. I've been on Cambly for a long time. It doesn't happen a lot, but it can happen. And when it happens, you need to know what to do and you need to be prepared for it. So what can I do? You can hide the student's video, so you can push a button and immediately it can be hidden. Or you could stop the lesson immediately and push the report button or ban the student button. So you have that on your platform that you could just put, and it ends the lesson, and Cambly gets the message that this student has been reported or banned, and they will watch the video and see what happened. And so you don't need to explain anything even, but if you want, you can submit a ticket. From a tutor point of view, you can submit tickets and say this is the problem, but you don't even have to do that. I've never done it, because they watch the videos and obviously they see what's happened. So yeah, don't let that put you off, but you know, it could happen because there's a lot of weird people out there, and especially the students who have like a 15-minute trial lesson. So they have like free 15 minutes to check out what Cambly is about, and you may get a boy jumping up on there looking for a nice looking girl, looking for a next date, or you know, just being inappropriate. So yes, know how to deal with that, but yes, don't let that put you off, because it doesn't happen a lot. And my last tip would be, always have fun, always be yourself, and always be considerate towards your students. If you give your best, they will give their best. And if you find someone that you really click with, because I found a lot of friends that have actually, students that I've actually become friends with because I just clicked with them. You know, you can really have a student for a long time. They will become a regular. So if you like a student, you can mark them as a regular, and if they like you, they can mark you as a favorite tutor. And then if you open up your schedule, you can actually open up maybe just for regulars, and then only people that are marked as your regulars would be able to book you in that time. So eventually you'll come to a place where you don't actually have to talk to a lot of new people. You'll just keep talking to people that you've already met, marked as regulars, and that you feel comfortable with. So after almost 5 years of tutoring, I'm at that place where I don't actually open my schedule for new students anymore. But every now and then I just go online, I just go visible, just to maybe make a new friend, and you know, to keep that experience of just being a Cambly online tutor, because I love meeting new people. So thank you for tuning into my channel, and thank you for listening to everything that I had to say about meeting new students online. Please don't forget to subscribe, please don't forget to like this video, and please keep your eyes open to more videos coming your way to teach you about, or just maybe share some online teaching tips with you. So I have a lot of videos that I've got planned where I'm going to show you some of my props, and I'm going to give you tips of how to deal with certain situations. So yes, I look forward to seeing you online soon. Bye, happy tutoring!